Okay, welcome to this explainer. Walk into almost any modern classroom today and you're going to hear a beautiful symphony of different languages. It's amazing. But here's the catch. Our testing systems, they just haven't caught up. So today, we're jumping straight into the latest research on multilingual assessment to figure out a fairer, much more accurate way to evaluate our incredibly diverse students.
Let's get right into the core dilemma. When a multilingual student sits down for a test, what are we actually measuring? Their true knowledge of science or math, or just how well they know the school's dominant language? The research is super clear. Tests designed strictly for native speakers consistently underestimate what a multilingual student actually knows. It basically creates this massive linguistic wall that completely masks their true academic abilities.
To fix this, we've got to shift our mindset in two very specific ways. First, when diagnosing a newcomer, we're assessing the plurilingual individual, figuring out what baseline subject knowledge they already have, regardless of the language they originally learned it in. Second, we move toward assessing plurilingual competence. This evaluates their deep understanding of the content while actively valuing their complete linguistic toolkit. We absolutely have to stop viewing these kids through a deficit lens.
Now, a really critical piece of the puzzle here is the washback effect. This is the powerful influence that our testing practices have on what and how we teach every single day. Think about it. If teachers know the final, high-stakes exam is completely monolingual, well, our daily teaching will naturally default to that single language just to prep them. And that completely undermines cognitive justice. It falsely signals that a student's home language holds literally no value in an academic space.
And it creates a glaring gap between how we teach and how we test. Look at these recent surveys. A massive 72% of teachers use multilingual instruction every day to help kids learn. That is fantastic. But barely half of those same teachers allow multiple languages in written assessments. And sadly, about 15% still think multilingual assessment is completely irrelevant. We're out here trying to modernize our teaching, but our outdated monolingual exams are causing systemic discrimination right under our noses.
So how do we actually fix this? Let's look at the first solution, multilingual rubrics. It's time to separate true conceptual understanding from strict linguistic accuracy, and we use three guiding principles here. First, meaning always matters more than accuracy. Second, value their full linguistic toolkit. This is called translanguaging, letting kids fluidly use all the languages they know to make sense of things and express their ideas. And third, assess their progress over time, not just a high-pressure final product. We have got to stop penalizing them for not matching an arbitrary native speaker baseline.
Imagine tracking a student's progress through a rubric like this. At the emerging stage, a newcomer might sketch a diagram or use their home language to prove they get the water cycle. As they develop, they shift to simplified vocabulary in the school's language. Once proficient, they're hitting those subject-appropriate terms. And finally, at expanding, they're applying that deep understanding to totally new contexts. It lets them show off their growing intellect without hitting a massive roadblock on day one.
Moving on to solution 2. The power of digital tools.
Technology is an absolute game changer here. We have phenomenal digital solutions at our fingertips. Think digital portfolios like Google Sites to collect multimodal artifacts all semester long. Or audiovisual apps like Padlet or Vocaroo. These let students record rich oral narratives instead of stressing over written essays. Plus, translanguaging AI and bilingual glossaries actively assist them. It completely shifts testing from a stressful, one-and-done measurement into a really dynamic documentation of their actual growth.
Practically speaking, this means a student could submit a written chemistry lab report in English, but pair it with a highly detailed audio recording explaining those exact chemical reactions in Spanish. By combining the two, you get this incredibly rich, complete picture of their intellect. It creates a holistic, dynamic profile of the learner that a standard multiple-choice test literally could never provide.
Ultimately, we have to keep coming back to this powerful insight from the research. When learners are assessed only in the language of schooling, their full linguistic repertoire remains invisible. Ensuring our students are fully visible, that their skills, backgrounds, and cognitive assets are actually seen and valued is the ultimate goal for any educator. An equitable assessment system has got to recognize their entire communicative range as the massive advantage that it is.
Which brings us to a provocative question I want to leave you with today. If our ultimate goal is to uncover a student's true potential, can we really afford to keep testing them in only one language? Something to chew on before you design your next exam. Thanks so much for joining this explainer and keep empowering your students.